What's up, everyone? I'm Harrison, and welcome back to another Tutorial Tuesday. What is Tutorial Tuesday? Tutorial Tuesday is every Tuesday I will be teaching you how to draw some of your favorite characters. Today, we're drawing Kid Goku. So for Kid Goku, we're going to start off with a nice big circle for his head. Remember, keep your drawing nice and light, especially when we're first starting off. We're going to add 2 circles on the side of his head for his ears. Let's start defining his shoulder. Just round out some of those shapes. Remember, in Dragon Ball, all of the muscles and edges are very rounded and soft. Just at the forearm, we're going to add his little armband and then a big blobby circle for his fist. We can start indicating his back by dropping in a nice long rectangle. You can also start indicating the Turtle School logo on his back. And then underneath all of that, you can drop in a really thin rectangle for his belt. Just below the belt, on an angle, we can make like a nice long stretched out N shape. That will be his knee. He's kind of in a hunched over, like ready to fight pose. Drop in some detail for his pants and his shirt. Now we can start accentuating the logo. I don't know how to draw Japanese kanji, so it was pretty tough to get it right, especially on this angle. Now let's jump to the hand. Hands are very tricky. No matter how long you've been drawing, the hands are just tough. So take it slow, start from the blobby circle, add a few little sausage shapes to get those fingers. Just use reference and take your time. Sit there and take a picture of your hand or Google hands. Now we can work our way back up to the head. Dragon Ball heads were huge. At least from my remembering of the show, the heads were big. And then we can start dashing out the hair. Goku's hair is so specific. If you don't get it right, it doesn't look like Goku at all. Maybe it looks like Gohan, if at all. Let's drop in his mouth. It's like a bean shape. It's not quite a smiley face, but it is the shape of someone who would be laughing. Goku's nose is an upside down U. And in this specific drawing, he is turning into the Great Ape. So his eyes are like half circles with a little squiggle line underneath. We can add in his eyebrows, and drawing his eyebrows on a very steep angle help accentuate the fact that he is very angry. And then once we have his eyes and eyebrows in, we can drop in his bangs. Now for the ears, I love Dragon Ball ears. They're so simple. They get a little bit more complex in Dragon Ball Z, but in Dragon Ball, they're so simple. It's just 2, maybe 3 lines. As I said, Goku is not smiling or laughing. He is turning into the Great Ape, so let's draw almost like vampire teeth. He's got a couple big fangs, and the other teeth are a little jagged. We can make it a little bit gross and add in some saliva drips, and then right above his mouth, just below his eyes, we can add in his cheek marks to make it look like his mouth is really just stretched out. And at the bottom, you saw me try to draw in his tail, and then I realized he wouldn't have the tail if he was turning into the Great Ape. So, not doing it. I am going to put Goku in a frame, so that's why I pulled out my ruler. I'm going to draw a nice long frame that actually he's breaking the borders of. I love when characters are put in boxes and then they kind of just break the edges of it. It makes for a much more dynamic image. And we're busting out the ink again. In this drawing, I will be using dip pen and brush again, just as a warning. You can still do all this with a fine liner and a Sharpie. If you're going to be inking with the dip pen, remember, take those lines nice and slow, work left to right. You don't want to smudge your drawing. Dip pen just dries a little slower than if you were using a marker. And with inking, just find those lines that need extra weight, add a little bit more ink to them. You can always go back over. One of my inking tips that I like is when doing pieces like this, where there's going to be a lot of areas that are just solid black ink, and there are a lot of pointy, like sharp edges, fill in the edges, like the corners, like in Goku's hair, his bangs and the tips of his hair, fill in those areas with the fine dip pen, and then later on we can go back with the brush and fill in the larger areas. You don't want to try to cram in all that ink with the brush. You're just going to end up making the hair bigger than you wanted it to. And honestly, for this piece, the inking is very straightforward. Akira Toriyama had very crisp, clean lines. He would accentuate some areas here or there to give emphasis to like bulging muscles or to blood or something that needed that pop. But for the most part, the lines are very clean. There's nothing too crazy as far as inking techniques go. And I know I'm contradicting myself with inking here. I am using a brush pen. I wanted to try a new pen that I got, and I thought maybe this would help. And as I said before, you really want to use the fine tip to get those really tight details. And I didn't listen to myself. So again, learn from my mistake and do what I'm telling you, not what I do. I really wished I would have filled in those really small areas first with the pen and then gone back in with the marker. This marker is great. I love this marker. It's perfect because I love painting inks with a brush. And so if I was on the go, this would be a great replacer for actually bringing a bunch of ink. And then I, again, waited at least 20 minutes for my inks to dry. And now I'm using I think it's like a calligraphy nib, but it's a thicker nib. It's supposed to supply more ink to provide a thicker line. So I'm using that nib for the border. This is a new nib to me, so I'm still trying to get the hang of it, which is why some areas smudged and it didn't look the cleanest. And when erasing, always wait at least 20 more minutes. Make sure those inks are set. You don't want to erase your inks. You don't want it to smudge if it's wet. Again, trust me, just wait. The longer you wait, the better it is. Look, you can see I had to pull out the whiteout to blot out some of those inks that smudged. The last thing you want to do is have to white out your drawing. I hate it. It like makes me hurt because I'm like, I wish I just would have waited like a few more minutes for the inks to dry. And there we have it. There is Kid Goku. Another super quick drawing. Give this video a thumbs up. Let me know what you think. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Hit that bell notification so you know when I post the next tutorial Tuesday. If for some reason you did not like this video, please let me know in the comments why. Am I talking too fast? Am I not going fast enough? Am I going too slow? Are there certain techniques you'd like me to focus on? Would you like me to actually sit there and break down the drawing with my tablet, go step by step by step? Or is the way I'm doing it good? Let me know. I want to know your thoughts and feedback. If there is a character that you would like to see me draw specifically, drop it down in the comments below. I would love to teach you how to draw your favorite characters. Thank you so much for joining me for another Tutorial Tuesday. And I will see you next Tuesday.